Welcome back, brothers and sisters. I am Braden. This is Langley Outdoors Academy, the place where we not only talk about what's going on in the gun world, but also how we're going to fix it together. And I have some breaking news. This happened about an hour ago as of the filming this video today. We have the right to own a gun behind a license being accelerated up the courts. Now, this has ramifications across the board, not only in Chicago and Illinois, like we're used to talking about, but also now in Maryland. This is a big deal, people. Remember that pyramid I'm always talking about, pushing it all the way to the top? We're getting real close with this specific, and I cannot wait to hear what you guys think. Of course, everything will be linked into the description box below. Make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn the notification bell on, and send this one out, because this is the beginning, potentially, of where licensure to own could die. And that would be a really big thing because it's blatantly unconstitutional. All right, let's get to it. Like I said, this came out about an hour ago. Federal Appeals Court grants petition for full court to consider Maryland gun law. The Fourth U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals has granted Maryland's petition for the full court to consider the state's handgun licensing law that was struck down in November by a 3-judge panel. Now, you guys remember we talked about it. In Maryland, licensure to own was struck down by that 3-judge panel, which was a small panel of the larger court. Now, Maryland has said, no, we want our licensure to own and put a right behind a license, and we're willing to defend it. So we want to hear the whole court, or have the whole court hear our opinion. That's what's about to happen. If the full court says, no, it's unconstitutional, the next step is the SCOTUS. If it's ruled unconstitutional by the full Fourth Circuit, you now have different cities and different states and localities that have things like FOID cards that are also licenses before you can own something. Do you understand where this is going? This is a big deal, people. Let me show you all the details. Baltimore, AP. The Fourth U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals has granted Maryland's petition for the full court to consider the state's handgun licensing law that was struck down in November by a 3-judge panel, Maryland Attorney General Anthony Brown said Thursday, today. The 3-judge panel ruled 2-1 that Maryland's law requiring most citizens to obtain a license before acquiring a handgun was unconstitutional. Brown's office requested the hearing for the full court's review last month because they can't just accept that they lost. It's blatantly unconstitutional. Hey, here are all your rights. Here's your right to free speech. Ooh, but do you have a license for that? Hey, here's your right for voting. Ooh, but do you have a license for that? It's on its face comical. They've gotten away with this for so long because so few states have challenged it and actually been successful. And now you have a conservative-leaning Supreme Court where you're putting a right behind a license. Guys, this has the potential to be the beginning of the end for licensure. How much would you guys love to see the FOID card die and Pritzker's face just go off? How about Gavin Newsom? Yeah, just saying this has some serious ramifications. And if it gets rejected, it can now be brought up to the SCOTUS. Again, multiple injuries nationwide, a question of constitutionality. This is a pretty good one. The November ruling found it was unconstitutionally restrictive for Maryland to require people to obtain a license before purchasing a handgun. The process of obtaining a license can take up to 30 days. Yeah, that's unconstitutional. You can't impose a penalty of time on somebody because you don't like their right. You can't put their rights behind a license that has a time expansion and go, well, we'll let you know when we're going to let you have your rights. You cannot do that. That's actually pretty easy. You just simply can't do it. A lot of the fights that we are relegating the left to, particularly on the gun control left, they're getting more and more hard to defend. Like, for example, red flag laws, due process. Thank you. Good talk. Licensure to own, unconstitutional. Good talk. You see what I'm saying? They're getting more and more direct because they've stopped being able to flirt around the edges. Anyway, let me show you one more thing, and then I got a cool little cartoon that I thought was very applicable. Quote, I welcome the court's decision to rehear this case and will continue to defend common sense gun laws to protect Marylanders from these unnecessary and very preventable tragedies, Brown said. So every single person that buys a gun is a tragedy risk, huh? You're going to put a license in front of a right for the entire population across the board. Meanwhile, other states don't have that exact same licensure requirement for their rights. This is not going to bode well if it continues to go up. Now, let me show you the cartoon because I promised, and we're all here for the cartoons. This is outrageous. This is dangerous. This is, it's constitutional. Anyway, the big thing that I like about this, if this continues to go up, and we see all these challenges which are based on the Bruen decision, which are based on the constitutionality prior to the Bruen decision, the Heller decision, all of these things, the more that we see them go up and up and up the chain, like in this case, to the entire panel or the entire court of the Fourth Circuit. Play this out from a gun controller. What's the best case scenario? Best case scenario, it gets ruled constitutional. Well, then you have a challenge set from the gun rights side where you can say Maryland's infringing, Chicago or Illinois is infringing, you got some California infringing, a little bit of New York. You're building the case. The more and more these things pop up, just like AR bans, just like mag bans, all of it, the more and more that they do this because they're virtue signaling diehards, the more they're going to draw the attention of the SCOTUS, and it's going to eventually be taken up. I can't tell you when, I can't tell you how, but I can tell you the more gun rights lawsuits that are coming, which have been unprecedented over the last 2 to 3 years, they're eventually going to get there because the floodgates are officially open. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below, and I'll see you on the next one. I'm Braden. See you later.